Hey friends, it's Judy Klock here, your independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator here in Middletown, Virginia. And I'm coming to you tonight. This is a pre-recorded video. I think I'm going to start doing them more pre-recorded as opposed to live, just because it kind of works out better for my schedule. If I can get them done in the afternoon, then that kind of leaves me some time in the evening, just kind of spend it with my husband. So hope you'll forgive me for that, but it's just kind of, this is what's going to work out best for me and my family. So most of these will probably be recorded going forward. So today I am going to work with the new bundle. I just got it on Monday. I couldn't wait to get this. I saw this at On Stage and I just thought it was so cute. This is the Sweet Jar bundle. And I'm going to be featuring this bundle, the stamp set and the punch, in my June workshop. Registration for which is now open. And I will put the link down in the description following the video. So today we're going to make 3 cards. We're going to do just kind of a simple, that I think would be perfect for like a little anniversary card. It just says, sending a little love your way. It could be an anniversary. You could use it as a get well card. Really just for any occasion that you want. So that will be card number 1. And I feel like we're terribly crooked. There we go. All right, there we go. The camera was a little bit crooked there. That's better, right? Then we're going to do a fun little gift card holder, because who doesn't need gift card holders for birthdays? And I love the bright colors. We've got Coastal Cabana, Melon Mambo, and Poppy Parade. And I just think those colors work well and they just really pop. We've got a little pocket over here to tuck in our gift card, and then just a little area to write our birthday greetings. And then last, we're going to do a card I don't do often, but this is a real shaker card. It's not a faux shaker card. So again, we're going to use those itty bitty bokeh dots, little individual like sparkles, sprinkles, sequins. I couldn't think of the word. I heard a funny joke. It said, when I can't think of the word from now on, I'm going to say, what's the word? I can't think of the word in English, so people will think I'm bilingual instead of an idiot. I thought that was very funny. And then we're just going to put sending a little party your way. And again, just a little happy birthday on the inside. So those are our 3 cards that we're going to make tonight. And as always, the measurements will be on my blog post tomorrow at some point. I'll get it up. So for our first card, we've got our Poppy Parade. It is a standard 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. I've got a piece of our basic white for the inside. I can't pick up anything with these nails, but my nails were so bad after I did some outside work. I had to put some nails on to make it look nice. 4 by 5 1/4. I have another piece of basic white that I die cut with our textured note dies. And how pretty is that? And this one will measure about 3 1/4 by 4 3/4. So that's that. And you can see that pretty little fancy edging. I don't know if you can see that, the stitching along the edging. Then I die cut another Poppy Parade circle from our Spotlight on Nature dies. And then I've just got a scrap of basic white for doing our stamping with our jar, for our jar and our lid. So let's go ahead and get stamping. So the first thing I want to stamp is, oh, I can never open these. I'm going to stamp our jar. Let me move our sample cards out of the way for now. I'm going to stamp our jar. I'm going to stamp it twice. Actually, I might use a bigger piece of paper because I need 2. Let's go over here. I need 2. So actually, I wanted to do that because never mind. I talk to myself all the time because sometimes I need expert advice. All right, so we're going to put 1 there. And then I don't know. Let's see if we can flip this around and stamp our second one. We'll see. Hopefully that will work, and that will give us enough room to die cut. All right, now we're going to take our Poppy Parade ink. All right, now, while I have it out, I'm going to put my little jars aside for just a second. On the inside, we have these little tiny heart stamps, and I'm just going to stamp them in the corners just to kind of jazz up our inside, because, we want our inside to be as happy as our outside. don't forget, stamp your envelopes. Couple little hearts on your envelopes. All right, now we're going to stamp our jar. So I've got here a couple of stamps. Pardon me. This is like a solid outline stamp, and I'm going to ink it up in our Poppy Parade, and I'm going to stamp off because I want to use second generation ink, and I'm going to stamp that in our jar. I'm going to do that for the other jar too. Ink it up, and I'm just going to stamp it off. Okay, and we're just gonna, all right, and then we're gonna come back, and that's gonna give us a nice little background color because now we're gonna stamp our hearts in full strength. So we're just gonna go ahead and stamp those right there. Trying to get the edges even. Right. I just inked up this ink pad, but it's still not great. All right, and here we go here. Our next one. Okay, so there are our two jars. Now I do want to stamp our lid, and I'm going to stamp our lid in basic gray. And I'm not going to, I'm going to stamp it separately because I can never line these up. I know the punch encourages us to line them up, but I am not talented enough to do that. So I am actually just going to stamp my lid right there. I'm going to flip it around. I'm going to stamp it on the other side. Okay, then we'll punch those out. Okay, let's get our punch. All right, and we're going to stamp. See what I mean? How the jar and the lid are like right there, and it's, I find it hard to stamp them so that I can line them both up. So I just do it separately because for me, that's just easier. I got all these little extra lids flying around. That's okay. All right, here we go. All right. Now, let's punch our lids. I know you would think I could do this, but I can't. I really am right-handed, so I prefer to punch with my right, line up with my left, and punch with my right. But don't let that little lid go flying. Make sure you keep that one. All right. And there we go. All right. Now we've got all our parts and pieces. Let's put that over there. And let's go. Where are my two? These are my two white ones. I don't need those. These are my two that I stamped. Nope. Well, so much for that. All right. I'm going to pull in my little silicone craft mat, because I'm going to use my liquid glue, and I want to put just a very, very fine line on the back of my lid. Okay, I'm just being really careful. I don't want to have a big blop on there. And then I'm going to carefully, at least I'm going to try to carefully pick it up, and we're going to kind of put that on one jar. Okay. Move that out of the way. These just don't want to work today. Okay, it's a little crooked. Let me see if I can fix that. That's the good thing about liquid glue. It gives you that little bit of extra time. All right, here we come with our second jar lid. And then if you do get glue on the mat, it'll just wash off. When it's dry, you can even just like pick it off. That's the beauty of the silicone craft sheet. We were laughing in our class the other day. One of my friends was using the silicone craft sheet, and of course the adhesive wasn't sticking, and she goes, "It's not sticking." I'm like, "Well, yeah, that's the point of the silicone craft sheet." She's like, "Oh, right." She just forgot. Sometimes we forget. All right, that is it. We've got our things. Now let's go ahead and assemble our card. But before we assemble, we want to do one more little bit of stamping. I forgot. We want to stamp here. We're going to stamp in black, sending a little, we have a space your way, okay? And we're going to fill that space with love and some more of our hearts. Okay, so I think I have my little love that says love. Ink that up in our Poppy Parade. That just fits perfectly in between there. And then we'll come back in here with our hearts. We'll just kind of jazz this up a little extra. As they say, zhuzh it up a little bit. So finally it stopped raining. It was raining so much here. We had like 6 inches of rain in a day. It was crazy. The backyard was a muddy mess. And with 6 dogs, you can imagine how much fun that was. So yeah. But all's well that ends well. I wouldn't trade my puppies for anything. So most days I wouldn't trade them for anything. Then the other night, it was yesterday. Still catching up from sleep. Sorry. I was dead asleep, and I got shocked out of bed by the emergency tones on my phone going off, like almost like the world is ending. There was flooding in Front Royal, which is like a town over. But once you get awoken out of a sound sleep with the emergency tones, there's just no getting back to sleep readily, easily. So it was a long day yesterday. Anybody else have that happen to them where you just kind of get rudely awakened by the tones and then you're done? You're just like, yeah, sleep is not happening again. So, and then this morning, my German Shepherd, who's not feeling well, had to go out at like 4 a.m. So that was fun. All right, I'm going to add our circle here. Right now, one of these, I'm going to just kind of put flat. So I'm just going to use, again, our Stampin' Seal. All right, and we're just going to kind of, oops, it's sticking to my fingers. We're just going to kind of put that there. And then this one, I'm going to pop up on dimensionals. Okay. And I don't know about you, but I like putting like a line or something through my backing so I know when the covers are off. Now this is, it's called the Ivine Berry. It's for like when you're doing stuff with Cricut, but it works great to hold all your little dimensional tops. All right, now this needs a little bit of bling. So we're gonna add some bling. If I can find where I put my bling. I had it all out because I'm like, oh, I want to use my bling. So these are the iridescent faceted dots. I just love these. I think these are like so pretty. So where is my take your pick tool? I'm going to add, oops, one there. And I actually put 2 here on the little jar lids just to kind of zing those up. Like get that wow factor on our jars. And just another little 2. Doesn't really matter. I like using an odd number of embellishments, because that's sort of how it is in nature. Everything is in an odd number. But that is card number 1. But how cute is that, right? We really just use Poppy Parade in white, a little bit of black ink, a little bit of Poppy Parade ink, but I think we have a pretty cute card. So sometimes you can go really kind of simple and not have a lot of stuff, and you can still get a really pretty card. All right, our next one is our card holder, our gift card holder. Okay, and I've got here a Coastal Cabana. It is 11 by 4 1/4. I scored it at 1 3/4 and 5 1/2. And I'm going to use this is a retired punch, but I'm sure you have something similar in your stash or a little tiny die. I'm just going to kind of cut a half a circle out of there. And that's just going to make it easier to get the gift card in and out. You don't need to do that step. It is completely not necessary. But if you have a little hole puncher or a little circle punch, go ahead and do it. Now for this, I'm going to put some tear and tape right here on the very edges, right? We want to make sure we get it as close to the edge as possible because we want to make sure that we leave room to slide our gift card in and out. What's your favorite store to get a gift card from? I like I would like Panera gift cards, Michael's gift cards, I guess Starbucks, but their coffee, I don't really like it that much. It's very strong. I really like our little cafe here, the Daily Buzz. Their coffee is fabulous. It's in Middletown, and there's one in Stevens City. Great coffee, very nice people. Kind of my little hometown go-to coffee shop when I'm meeting friends. Very fun. All right, we've got that. All right, so we've got our piece here. I've got a piece of our basic white. It's 4 by 5 1/4, and I've got another piece here that we're going to use to stamp and punt and die cut. We're going to do another die cut. I have 2 pieces of Melon Mambo. They're both 4 inches long. This one is 3 1/2. This is 1 1/2, and this is going to go on our card front, and this is going to go on our basic white. Now for this, I am going to use our liquid glue because I find that the tape runner, always seems to tear my embossed cardstock. And I know you're going to ask me what embossing folder I used, and I can't remember off the top of my head. It was the one, it was in the last annual catalog. It was with like the lobster stamp set, like something seas. I don't know. Waves, maybe soft waves. Maybe it was soft waves. And now I'm going to stamp happy birthday on here in our Coastal Cabana, right? Because we're done with our Poppy Parade. We're moving on to Coastal Cabana, right? And I wanted to put the piece of Melon Mambo on first so I would sort of know where to go with my happy birthday. Okay. All right. Let's put this away. We'll use that again in a minute, but we're going to do some other stuff first. All right, let's go ahead and add this to our inside. Since we've got this done, let's get this piece out of our way so that we can have plenty of room to work. All right, there we go. That's good. Now we've got our other piece here. Let's go ahead and put this on. And I'm going to use our multi-purpose liquid glue. Some people call it green glue or Tombow. It's all the same thing. And again, you don't need a lot because you don't want it to like ooze out the sides. So use it with a light hand. Okay, got that. Let's go ahead and stamp our last sentiment because we need to get that ready. Because when we die cut our white circle, we're going to attach that to the back of our 2 circles. Okay, so this says a little treat for you, which I thought was kind of perfect for the gift card, right? The gift card could be a little treat. All right, now we're going to flag the ends. So when you want to flag the ends, I'm going to grab my paper snips. I'm going to cut a little like snip right up the middle. Not with my finger in the way though. And then we're going to go from the end, we're going to cut it on a diagonal, on an angle, from the corner, from the end to that center point. And that was kind of flagging the ends. I'm going to leave it a little bit long because it's going to end up going, sorry, I really can't pick stuff up tonight. It's going to kind of hang out from here. So I want to make sure I have enough to make sure that can happen. So I'm not going to trim it just yet. All right, let's go ahead. We need to stamp our jar again. Let's grab our basic black. And again, you can use whatever color you want. I just decided to stick with the basic black for tonight, the Memento Tuxedo Black. That's just, my little thing. All right, I got to make sure I want to make sure I have enough room to die cut it. Actually, I need to move it up. So I'm going to flip it over because paper has 2 sides. All right, and where did I do that? I did it over there, so we'll do it over here. But I'm going to kind of move it up. Make sure I have enough room to go ahead and die cut. And I do. Okay, so that's good. All right, get that away. Now I'm going to come out here with our pecan pie. All right. And we're going to, now you don't have to do the 2 steps. I am doing a 2-stepper. You can omit this step if you don't want to do it. Entirely up to you. I like the way it looks, so that's why I'm doing it. So again, your card, your call. Okay, so I'm going to ink it up. This is that shadowy one, and I'm going to stamp off again because I want to use 2nd generation ink, and I'm going to stamp it in my jar. Okay. Then I'm going to come with the cookies, the candies, whatever you want to call them, little ovals. And this we're going to stamp full strength. I'm sorry, but I need to be able to see. Okay, there we go. And that a little off on the lineup. Sometimes it's hard to see with the light and everything else and the glasses, and so, but that's okay. That's what makes handmade cards unique. It's the variations in how we do it. Now I've got our early espresso, because you got to have chocolate chip cookies, right? I mean, that's kind of the rule, I think. I think you can't have it. Somebody was saying yesterday they were making meatloaf, and I said mashed potatoes, and I'm like, are you having mashed potatoes? She's like, no. I'm like, is that allowed? Are you allowed to make meatloaf without having mashed potatoes? We were all laughing. We were kind of giggling about that. I am missing a stamp. I put them all out. At least I thought I did. Maybe I didn't put the chips on a stamp. No, I thought I put the chips on. I did. Well, I don't know where they've gone to. We might be doing a chocolate chip cookie without the chips. What the heck? Well, while I'm doing that, let's go ahead and stamp our lid on our jar. We're going to stamp it in the basic gray that I just had here. Okay, that I found. I can't find my chips. What the heck? All right. All right. This I'm going to, again, all right, there we go. I got the lid on. This is really going to drive me bananas if I can't find that other stamp for the chocolate chips. That's that. I put everything out so that I would know exactly where everything was. Well, let's go die cut it. I'll be right back. Let me go grab my die cutting machine. That is so bizarre. I cannot believe that I cannot find that other stamp. It didn't fall on the floor. It's not to the left of me. It should be, I have a whole pile of stamps over here on my right, and it should be, I even know what size block it's on, and I don't see that block. It's like the whole thing has just, whoop, vanished. Wow. Very, 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 oh, found it. Found it. All right, let's finish up. Oh my gosh. What a mess. I'm such a mess. All right, let's go ahead, add our chocolate chips to our cookies. There we go. How's that? Now we've got chocolate chip cookies with actual chocolate chips. Let me grab my Stampin' Cut and Emboss and get that die cut. And of course, I can't find the other plate. And some days, I need to get my studio cleaned up because I have a class on Saturday. So tomorrow I will be down here very diligently working to clean and organize my workspace. All right, pulling in our plates. Okay, we've got our Spotlight on Nature die. Okay, now just going to make sure that's centered. There we go. And here we go. Okay. there is our die cut jar. Well, our little die cut circle. Okay, this is some reason it's just been really giving me a problem detaching from the there we go, from the dies. I don't know why that is, but there we go. We got it detached without it ripping, so I count that as a win. All right, so we're going to go ahead and add this right down to our Daffodil Delight die cut circle. There we go. Now, remember I said I wanted our sentiment to kind of come out like that. So I'm just going to go ahead and lay some Stampin' Seal Plus. Okay, this is not working out for me. I'm going to lay some Stampin' Seal Plus on the back of my yellow die cut. And I'm just going to make sure that I get this where I want it. Okay, that looks good. All right, now we're going to put some Stampin' Dimensionals on here. If I can find them. And I like to kind of put some on this piece too. Kind of helps hold it a little bit. Not that I think that adhesive is going anywhere, but it's a big piece. Okay, maybe one more, because this is a pretty big circle. All right. All right. And then there's always that one that doesn't want to come off. Here we go. We are ready. So what do you think of that color combo? Kind of a bright. I kind of like it though. I'm not used to doing brights all the time, but I do like that. All right, last one is our shaker card. So I've got here a piece of our Azure Afternoon, 8.5, 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. Our basic white. We are going to stamp on the inside. We're going to have a little fun with this. We are going to stamp, again, happy birthday in our Azure Afternoon. Okay, and then we're going to stamp some of those candles that we've used, that we will use on the front. We're going to stamp them here. Okay, as you can tell, as I stretch out my words, it means I'm searching for the objects that I'm looking for, like my stamps. All right, so we've got a little granny apple green. We're tying in those 3 colors. And it was so funny. I didn't even realize it, but I picked all of my colors today from the brights, which doesn't usually happen. I guess after having a rainy, cloudy, gray day for like since the beginning of the week, I guess I was just ready for bright colors, because really all of them turned out to be bright colors. All right. I got to put my little flames on there. I should have one more stamp pad here. There we go. Our Daffodil Delight. And we've got the little flames. So I like this one. This is like got the glowing. We're going to stick that over our single berry burst candle. And then we've got the other flames here that will fit right over the other 2 candles. So look how beautifully those all work together. Okay, let's go ahead and attach this to the inside of our card. All right. Go. All right. Now, we've got that done. Now, we need to stamp our jar on our piece of white. So I want to make sure that it's going to show through my circle. So I'm actually going to kind of marry these 2 pieces up for right now, just so I can sort of judge where I want to put my jar. I'm going to take Okay. Now I can trim. I can trim the sides down a little bit. So where's my jar? There's my jar. And I put the hole using the 2 3/8 of an inch circle punch. Okay. All right, that's good. That's all I really needed. Now we can go ahead and finish stamping. All right. Let's go ahead. We're going to stamp some candles. So we're going to stamp. Now this, I'm going to need all 3 of these up. I'm just going to move that out of the way for now. Because you know me, I tend to make a very big mess. All right. All right, so we're going to stamp our triple candle. If I can find them again. Here we go. All right, I used the green first. I'm going to go ahead and stamp the green. Get that up a little bit more. Gosh, you would think I never re-inked these. I'm going to stamp those. I'm going to clean this. I'm going to stamp them in blue. All right, that just kind of ties all of our colors together. Okay. Then I've got, I will need the blue again, but I think for right now, I'm just going to close these up for right now. All right, then I've got our single candle. And I'm going to stamp this in the Berry Burst. Okay. I love how it fits right in between those 3 candles. All right, we've got those. Come back in with our Daffodil Delight. We are going to stamp our flames. Okay. Okay. Now we've got to do our little special flame over our Berry Burst candle. Okay. All right. And now we've got our candles all done. The only thing we need to do is stamp our jar lid. All right. Let's go ahead and stamp our jar lid. Okay. All right. There we go. Now for the fun part. Get all of this out of the way. So I've got our Berry Burst here. And I'm going to actually use this side because I got a little messy on this side. And I have some long adhesive strips. Now these were ones that came with a paper pumpkin, but so these are shorter. So I'm actually just going to use these. But these are the long ones that you can buy, foam adhesive strips. But that would require cutting, and I have these short ones. So I'm going to be lazy, and I'm going to use the short ones because that's the way we roll sometimes. Okay, so we want to put these around our circle. Oh, first, before I do that, I almost forgot. I have to add my window sheet. Heavens, that's what I almost forgot. So I'm going to try to very carefully add some adhesive because I know this is embossed cardstock, but the foam adhesive sheets will help hold the window sheet in place too. And I had put it, there it is. Okay. So I'm going to add my window sheet. That would have been a terrible shaker card without the window sheet. Now we can put the foam adhesive strips around. Oh my goodness. You just never know what you're going to forget. Okay. Let's put them around the window, the circle. I mean, it doesn't have to be a perfect circle. It's got to be close enough Okay, I need one more little piece. I'm going to try to cut. So I'm going to cut it right from the edge because that looks like it'll be the perfect size. We will just stick that right in there. Okay. All right. Now we want to add some of our itty bitty polka dots, which again, I had somewhere safe and I don't know where they were. Well, why does this always happen to me? I had literally had everything laid out before I started. And I'm like, I'm going to put all of this stuff right here where I need it because it'll make my life much easier. And then I get filming and I don't know where my itty bitty polka dots are. Oh, for heaven's sakes. They were literally right here. Well, I have another set. They're not, the polka dots were better because they were actually the colors of my card, but we can go ahead and we can just check over here. I can't believe it. I don't know where they went to. All right, we can go ahead and, oh, they're right here. I found them. Ay, ay, ay. All right, I'm going to add some of these here. Now, some of these are like very, they're not flat. They're three-dimensional. So I'm taking the three-dimensional ones out because I think they're just not going to work well in the shaker card. So at least I don't think they work well. So I am just taking those three-dimensional ones out, at least the bigger ones. Okay. Okay, there we go. Okay, come on. Okay. I'm going to try to get some more of the flat ones. Let's put a few more of the flat ones in. There's one of the three-dimensional ones. That one's trying to escape, and this one's trying to escape. Okay, so that's our, and then just to make sure, this is going to go right there. Now, I'm going to add just a couple another strips right there just to make sure that I really hold that piece of white paper on. You don't want it flopping all over the place. Okay. And then I'm going, before I put it on, I'm going to add some adhesive back here because that will be easier to do now rather than after it's already on my card. Okay. All right. So now we got to take off our tape cover. That's what I'm afraid of. Okay. And this is why I generally don't make shaker cards because they're very messy. But they are fun. And I just thought for a birthday card, this is just fun. I love the colors. I love the way the dots, you know, the shaker elements will look. So it's just a fun card. Come on. Come on, let's go. Oh boy. All right, one more piece. Well, two more pieces. See, and some of my little dots are getting stuck on my foam adhesive, which we don't want. All right, come off. All right. Next. All right, let me just see if I can fix these. You don't want them stuck because then they get stuck in the card and it doesn't look fun. Ugh. Okay, I think I'm just making it worse. Okay. I'm going to take this, make sure I have it the right side up, and I'm just going to, that's going to really bother me. I can't fix that. Okay. Put that right there. And then our jar of candles should, press it down, make sure it's sticking. And our jar of candles is right in our window, which is what we wanted. All right, so we've got our adhesive there. We're going to put dimensionals around the edges, right? Because look at this. How perfect is this? You can do this right here. And that is going to be just perfect. Okay. Bend that a little bit. There we go. And we'll stick this over here. And we'll call it done. Nope, get that off. All right. Take this off. Oh boy, I got to finish up because I got to get ready to go out. All right. Then we've got our card base here. No, we don't. I've lost my card base. Okay, folks, this is just not my night. Seriously? Is there one thing that I have not lost tonight? I have lost literally my mind because I have lost everything. Well, I'm just going to leave it at that. I can't find my base, but in the end, this is what it will end up looking like when you have your card base. I didn't realize it was so late at 6:30 and I got to be somewhere at 6:45. So I need to run, but thanks everybody. Have a great night. I will see you next week. Bye.